I thought it was about time that I did my first update for this year. Obviously it's 2017 now, it's early May, and I've been back on the boat for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 days now, really, full time. When I finished up late last year before the monsoon season, I finished up the combing on this left hand side here, and I'd started this is the right hand side. I'd started the left hand side, but the weather got too bad, too much rain, so I had to wrap up and leave it for the sort of 6 or 7 months of the wet season. We had a very big wet season this year in the monsoons, lots of rain, and the water really got into the boat this year because of the heavy rain, and the sheets kept tearing in the wind. So the first couple of days was fixing up the SandBlaster. I've got a small sandblasting unit, you can see that little pop there. Fixing up that and modifying it to get it to a point where I could run it efficiently. It's a little handyman one, so it doesn't keep up pressure for very long. So what I actually did was modify that and I run it off 2 compressors. I've got a small compressor that pressurises this pot, so that contains all the blasting grit, and I've modified it just to close off the 2 valves and only have 1 air inlet valve, and that pressurises that pot to deliver sand. And then I've added a slightly longer hose, and I've modified it, and I'll give you a quick look. I've actually modified it and made my own sandblasting nozzle here. So what I've done is that compressed air that drives the actual blasting part of it connects here, or this nozzle here, and there's a control valve there that turns it on and off, and obviously the air pressure and sand comes out through this little nozzle here. And I've created a second line, you can see the orange line there, and that's connected to a little Y junction that I've welded into this rear tube. And back here there's another inline valve that controls the flow of grit on or off, or you know, I can sort of modify it or meter it a little bit with that. And that worked a lot better than the original design. The original design, it was just one single airline came into this point here on the sandblasting unit, and then there's a wide, like a T adapter below the unit where the air and sand mix and just come out for a single tube. So maintaining pressure in the pot and being able to deliver pressure at the nozzle, the pressure just kept dropping too low all the time. So I've modified it, as I said. This pot runs off a small compressor, a little 15 amp small compressor, and then I've bought a nice new Honda petrol driven compressor. Now that's quite a small compressor, but it's about 6.5 horsepower, and it does about 450 cubic feet per minute, I think it is, or litres per minute, maybe litres per minute. So it's very good delivery, and it's connected, as I said, straight to this sandblasting rig that I've set up. So that's made it a lot more efficient, and it works a lot better. There's probably a few little things I will do in hindsight. Putting the grit feed into behind the air valve means I get a bit of back pressure up here, which is not too much of a problem, but it takes a long time for the grit to come through. So what I'm going to do before I use it again is I'm going to take that off of there, and I'm going to move it in front of the valve, so as the grit's delivered in front of the incoming air pressure and straight out through the nozzle at the end there. So that's where I got to with that, and I did clean up a lot of the rust and welds on this combing that I'm doing here, and it did a really nice job on it, so that I was pleased with that. Obviously that sandblaster not designed to do the whole entire boat, it's too much for that, but certainly for all the small areas that go rusty, like along the top of the boat here, the top of the transom there, you can see there's rust on there, it'll clean that off in no time at all.